Hello, my name is Stan Copeland, and I'm the pastor of Lovers Lane United Methodist Church here in Dallas, and this is the Hope Connection.
Yes, and I am Dee Dee Jones, one of the associate pastors here at Lovers Lane, and we have another good show today with our very own Miss Jenny over here. She is.
Back.
Woohoo,
I'm back.
I'm really excited about this one too, which of course I love Jenny, but I love her baby girls.
Yeah.
She has the cutest baby girls, and I don't know. I wanted us to talk a little bit, boss, today about what it means to be a working mom.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It is.
It's hard.
Yeah, sometimes I saw this funny meme where it was like women. It's like this woman driving to work, and then she's like, "Why did we fight so hard for our rights? Because now we have to go to work every day." And I was laughing because it's so true. You know, obviously, I am blessed to be able to do a career that I love. I work in media. I host a TV show called Inside DFW.
Oh, that's awesome.
On CW33, which airs weekdays at 8. This is like a little shameless
There
plug,
you go.
I guess.
There you go.
But I think I wish I could honestly say I know I'm doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
My girls are fine. I'm a great example for them. But the truth is, I still wonder every single day, should I be going to work? Or should I be leaving them ever?
Right.
I don't know. I think it's sort of like an innate thing, and I don't know if anybody listening relates to this. I'm sure some people are like, I am glad to go to work and get my me time, or not my me time, but like,
hard.
have another outlet. And I think that it's like the grass is always greener. So sometimes I will see moms like that stay at home, and I feel like this tinge of like, I'm not sure if maybe I want what she has, right?
Right.
But I know that if I had what she has, you know what I would want? A job. I would want to be at work. So it's just really an interesting pull.
It is, because I know for me, my son went to private school, and I was one of, just on his baseball team alone, I was one of one other mom that worked among all of these moms. And all of a sudden you go, I mean, am I missing something? Did I do something wrong?
Well, I have to ask you now, though, that he's older. Do you, now you have your professional career, right?
Sure.
So I wonder, that's what I always think of too. Like when I'm at the phase that you're at, where, the girls are grown, if I had completely stopped working and then they're gone, then what do I do?
Well, I would tell you, I would do it all over again.
You would.
I would do it all over again, because my kid gets why his dad and I do what we do.
Yeah.
And he may not have always understood, but he knows that what we're doing is for something bigger than us.
Yeah.
And that has been poured into him. And
Of
so
course.
now he's driven to do the same thing. And I don't think that would have been the same.
Jenny,
No, I
I
hear
have
that.
to tell you something. Owen, their son, is awesome. I mean, he's an awesome kid. And of course, Dee Dee and Jeff
he loves
have
Pastor Stan.
they have a wonderful relationship. And so one day I said, Owen, I think your mother and father are really in love with each other. And he said, it's sickening.
Oh my gosh, that is what you want to hear.
It totally is, yes.
Yeah, I need to be a little bit more sickening around the girls.
Yes, I know.
You want your kids to see a loving relationship.
That's right.
Right? I mean, you
No.
want I think about that all the time. Like, are the girls seeing what I would want them to have?
Right.
Because you always
Yeah.
expect that your children are going to meet the most perfect being, to be their spouse. And so I always think about that. Like, are we being the example of like what I would want them to have?
Yeah.
And sometimes it makes me do a little reframe.
Well, I mean,
quality time is important.
Absolutely, yeah.
But perhaps more important is when you are with them and with each other, when we are a family, that there's good modeling. And,
Yes.
And we all know that it really does, to coin a phrase, take a village, and that's where
Truly.
the church comes in. I mean, the church adds to that kind
That's
of
very true.
parenting and, good friends, and it all kind of works together. Seems
No,
like y'all figured it out.
I don't know. I don't know if we figured it out, but I think we're figuring it out.
Yeah.
And I think about like with Brighton, you bring up the church community when she's 7. I have 2 children, for those who don't know us, a 7-year-old and then a 9-month-old. I cannot believe Gemma's 9 months old. Oh my gosh. And whenever this podcast comes out, I guess she'll be a little older. But thinking back to when Brighton was first born, and I was super clueless about motherhood in general, which was a little ridiculous because I was already 35 years old, but I really had no clue. And I learned everything from the MOPS girls. There was a MOPS group through the church.
Right.
And then I remember a couple of really hard days. We lived pretty close to here. And I came and just sat in that little living room area with Brighton just to have like people around.
Yeah.
You know, like during that maternity, I was just like, oh my God, I'm going to cry thinking about it because I remember feeling so like panicked. And I was like, I bet if I go over there, like Rocio's going to be there, somebody will be there.
Right.
And I would just like play with her and be in like a safe place. And it was so nice. Now with Gemma, I don't know that I'm an expert, but at least I can be alone with her.
But I love that you're honest about it.
Yeah.
Because I think sometimes you can be on a journey, particularly as women. We can't let them see us down or sweat or having a rough day.
Yes.
And I've been fortunate to work with Stan, who has taught me to be authentically who I am in a lot of ways in ministry, even as being a woman. But sometimes that's still hard.
It is.
And owning, though, that it's hard is also really hard.
Yes.
You know? And being able to go, you know what? Okay, this isn't a perfect day, and that's okay.
Yes. Yeah. I think sometimes I always wonder, like I look at other moms, I'm like, how are they doing it? How did they make dinner? Who's making dinner? Like who is making?
Like who got the oil change?
Yeah, who?
Yes.
Like who did any of the things? Who got the kids' uniforms ready or their school outfits, or like how are you all doing it while working? And so I feel like I'm just sort of like hanging on by a thread each day. Like okay, we made it through another day. We made it through another day. But I will say, and I don't know if it's age or just the fact that for Gemma, I mean, there's this like a 7-year age gap between the girls because we tried for like all that time to have our second baby, that I can give myself a little more grace in it. Like to just be like, okay, you know what? She's here. Like she's here, which I still like sometimes can't even believe because for so long it felt like we would never have another baby, you know?
Yeah.
And I kept thinking, like, is it part of God's plan? I'm going to need it to be a little more obvious, you know, because, like, you can only go through so much as a person.
Right.
And now that she is here, it's almost like I have to get used to having a blessing, you know, to be like, wow, like, we did get this. You know, she is here, and I'm able to just enjoy her.
Wow. That's so neat.
Yeah.
You know, I know I'm an old guy, but I was young once. And we have 2 children, same distance apart as yours.
That's right.
But ours basically bookend my dealing with leukemia and, you know, being treated for it because I was in treatment for 5 years. So I can relate to that. You know, and all along that time, we were in a big church in Houston. I was an associate. And Tammy would work a couple of years as a teacher, and then she'd stay home. And then she'd work a couple of years, and then she'd stay home. And I think we've got wonderful kids. I don't mean to brag, but I give Tammy a whole lot of the credit for that.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we were raising Zach particularly in a pretty tough time in our lives when we didn't know, you know, what was going to happen next. But I tell you what, having grandkids and being grandparents is really a joy too. But it's also another generation of, we got another chance to make an influence,
make an impact,
and make an impact on their lives, their little lives, and it's so much fun.
Did you feel like your life was on hold during that time? Like you're going through treatment, and then you're kind of like, okay, we have one child. I'm guessing you wanted to have another one.
Yes.
And you're feeling like your life's on hold.
Yeah, and it didn't happen all at once. You know, it took a little while, and you wondered, is this going to ever happen? And it did, and so we named Emily Grace. The Grace part, you know, is all about what we felt like, and I hear you saying the same thing that about Gemma. It's about, you know, what a gift of grace that little one is.
Yes. We said that we did IVF for her, and I can't believe it was successful because there was one viable embryo after a couple of rounds and every dime of money that we had. Oh, wow. And so we felt like she was like a precious gem. Like it was just like the one gem, the one, you know, the one, and she is. And I remember I remember them calling and saying like, there's one, because we'd already done it once and there were none. And so then I was like, okay, can I do this? Like, body, can you do this again? Mind, can you do this again? Wallet, can you do this again? Like, Heath Like, cause and then when we got through and got the one, I thought, this has got to be it. Like, and so she's just like our little precious gem.
Isn't
She
that
really,
something?
really is. And I just have so much gratitude, like the amount of gratitude, it's just like overflowing.
Yeah.
How do you help other women find hope? What was it for you? And finding hope in that. How would you tell another woman to find hope and not give up on that hope?
I think it can be, I love this question, but I'm also so cautious because the initial reaction is to say, look, this works for me, right?
Right.
And the truth is, like,
It doesn't
it
for
does
everyone.
not work for
No,
everybody. And
that's
some people will not be able to have, children of their own, if having a child is a thing, or having a career is the thing, or finding a partner. Like, for years, I didn't think that I would even get married because, by the time you're 34, I felt like everyone's met their person. Like, my
that. Yeah.
friends have teenagers.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
And so I think what I came to realize was just like hope in that there is a plan for me in my life, and letting go of, that sort of type A high achiever. I want to do this in this order. And everybody listening to this knows, like, God will kind of like put you back in your place. Yeah. And so I feel like once I open myself up to, okay, this is, we're not going to have these 2 kids 3 years apart. That's just not going to happen. We may not have another one. And I almost feel like I had to really get okay with that. Like then what else? Like, that's okay. This may not happen for us, but what else? Because I'm here for a reason. I'm valued in God's eyes. I'm meant to be here. Right. And so, it was just like that patience part of like looking at, there's a point of my life, there's a purpose. And it was like, once I sort of let that go, it doesn't mean that I was necessarily going to be able to have another child or, that I was going to have the perfect relationship or the perfect career or anything like that. But it just meant that I could open my eyes to like the possibilities.
Yeah.
Because it is really frustrating when people say, you have hope. Like I got naturally pregnant at 45. Yeah. People say that, and it's like so jarring to me.
I agree.
Because I don't, I want people to have hope in their journey. Like not always seeking inspiration in the fact that the person was able to stick it out and put one foot in front of the other. And like seek inspiration in that from others, but truly like it was like made me get quiet and made me get close to God, made me actually read my Bible. Imagine that. Right. Like do those things that I knew were important, but it made me just get calm, get still, get sort of grounded and present, and stop seeking outward input.
Well, and because it's physically and it's mentally.
Yeah. The exhaustion.
It's exhausting for sure.
Yeah.
And so I can imagine like what that means to say that to someone else. But I know so many women that are struggling with that, and they're working moms, and they're busy, and they're asking all the questions of what did I do wrong? What did I not do right? And why can't I have either my first child, much less my second child?
And I think, like, I remember hearing there was a fertility doctor who I always listen to because I'm a big researcher. And anytime I want to do something, I'm researching, like, how can I make this happen? Knowing full well I'm not in charge, right? My initial inclination. But she said, if somebody in particular is listening to this and on this particular journey, she was like, you'll be a mother one way or another.
Right.
You'll be a mother one way or another, whether that is through adoption, becoming an aunt, a mother figure, a mentor. There's so many ways to be a mother. And I found a lot of hope in that, in finding community and, just continuing on with that mentally. Because it's the mental, like the mental toughness will just knock you out of the game before you can even get started.
Absolutely.
I really appreciate your sensitivity to, what others might feel. I mean, I felt the same way when I started getting well, from my dealing with
like
leukemia.
You can eat this.
And some people were dying.
That's right.
And so, some mother just lost a child of leukemia, and you start having a little bit of that survivor's guilt. But when you can turn that into for me, it was like there's a difference in a cure and a healing. And a healing's much greater than a cure.
That's good.
And sometimes a healing doesn't accompany a cure. And a healing is when we, like your your doctor said, when we can say it's going to be all right. I'm going to be a mother one way or the other. And when you can rest in that kind of healing that I think God offers, then you can deal with, well, what if I'm not cured?
Yeah.
What if this doesn't happen
Yeah.
for me? And your platform, your visibility. The first time you were with us, you talked about dealing with eating disorder. And, how many people will be touched by your testimony related to that? You mean Jenny had an eating disorder? And now to talk about you and Heath struggling with infertility. And people just identify, especially when you say, I'm so blessed that, but the real blessing I just heard may have come when you decided what this doctor said is true. I'm going to be a mother. It's going to be okay.
Yeah.
No matter what, it's going to be okay. And then all of a sudden, here comes Gemma.
and then I don't get to decide.
No. That's right.
we don't get to decide, which is just, I guess, that part of life, right?
Oh,
That's true.
and what I love is that one day, Gemma's gonna see this podcast,
Sweet Jim.
Yeah.
and she's gonna see, and Miss B is too.
Oh,
But she'll see it
she's a
sooner
force.
than baby sister. But one of these days, they'll see what a blessing and what an amazing mom you are, Jenny, and that
Thank you.
You did push through, and you did settle in this place of like, okay, God, either way,
yeah.
it's gonna be okay.
Like, what is it? Yep. Like, we're
It's
open.
gonna be okay.
Yep. And he's helped me with that a lot too. He has more pause, more openness, but we had to learn this lesson for me.
And it's hard, and I really appreciate you sharing that story with women. I'm thankful for the strong women. Stan's married to a beautiful but really strong woman, and that makes all the difference, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Makes all the difference. And you have a strong woman as a daughter.
Yes, that's true.
And she's amazing, and we have strong women in our church. And you're just another testament of another strong woman, and you are raising strong women. That's pretty incredible.
Thank you.
We do thank you for tuning in today, and Jenny, again, thank you so much for really sharing your heart and part of your life. It's just been so helpful. So, thank you, and for tuning in to Hope Connection, and the Hope Connection is going to keep coming to you, and we appreciate you and your participation in it.